My name is Joyce Chai. I'm a professor in the Computer Science and Engineering Division. I'm a member of Michigan AI Lab. I'm also Associate Director of the Michigan Institute of Data Science. So my research is in the area of natural language processing and artificial intelligence. And my recent work focuses on developing situated language understanding models and enable language communication with embodied AI agents. Generative AI is a new branch in AI, which is about models' ability to generate new content based on some kind of a textual input. So it can generate answers to a question, or generate image, or generate music, or generate programming languages such as code. So what enables this generative AI is the recent advances in foundation models. So such as large language models, ChatGPT, and models that generate language such as DALL-E. So these are the models that are trained based on huge amount of data, usually at the internet scale. So once these models are trained, they can be used for downstream tasks. In natural language processing, language modeling is used to refer to computational models that can be trained based on a corpora of text to predict the next word. So that is what language modeling is about. So for example, given a linguistic context, such as I went to a conference last, what would be the word following that last? It could be last week, last year, last May. There are many possibilities. So language model is used to predict what would be the most likely word following that word last. Large language models refer to the use of deep neural network to predict the next word. And these models are large in the sense that they have billions or hundreds of billions of parameters. And researchers use tons of textual data from the internet, such as like hundreds of billions of words to train these large models. Neural networks are inspired by human brains, which consist of billions of neurons. So these large language models also are made up of numerous nodes and their interactions. And the parameters of these models refer to the weights of those connections between the nodes. So when we say training the large language models, we're trying to get is the numerical values of these parameters that can make sure the models do a good job at certain tasks. So for example, when predicting the next word, what we have is this tons of this sentences, and we know exactly what the next word is. So this is actually really, really helpful because this gives us the supervision to train the language model, which is called self-supervision. So essentially, we want to train this model so that they can predict that next true word in the data. So by comparing the true next word and the model predict the next word, there is a mathematical procedure involved, which is called backpropagation, which essentially is to tune these models to improve its prediction. So you can imagine that these models, are trained for every word in the data, and at the end of training, these models, this is called the pre-trained model. So you have these parameters tuned, and these models can be used for downstream tasks. So ChatGPT is made available by OpenAI. So these models, on top of the models that are trained based on predicting the next word, these models trained further by using instructional data. So this instructional data essentially just tells the model, given some kind of input, what should be the right kind of output. If you try ChatGPT on the OpenAI playground, and you'll notice that they ask you to give a thumb up or thumb down to the generated content. ChatGPT also uses this kind of a human feedback to fine-tune their model.